Okay, so this is part two. We finished the Bedlam Asylum, and Home Secretary and basically the government refused to release Matthews under habeas corpus. Okay, so having his medical opinion dismissed in this way spurred Haslam to publish a full account of the case. Illustrations of Madness opened with a withering attack on Clutterbuck and Burbeck. How they failed to detect his insanity is inexplicable, basically unable to be explained. He paraded Matthews' delusions like a ringmaster in a circus of lunacy, advertising on the title page a singular case of insanity and a no less remarkable difference in medical opinion, and tantalizing the reader with the prospect of a description of tortures experienced by bomb bursting, which is the signal being transferred. Lord, I can't even think of the word. Placed in your ear. Lobster cracker and lengthening the brain. Basically, what they do to us, where they stretch and squeeze the muscles, that is what causes our headache and manipulate the nervous system. So all of those internal surgeries are that. All this was embellished with a curious plate. Matthew's drawing of the heirloom, and accompanied by excerpts from Matthew's own notes on the mischievous and complicated science that lay behind it. Although Illustrations of Madness was an extended argument of his permanent detention, Matthews managed to turn its publication to his advantage. So basically, the more you keep telling your story, eventually it's going to get out. So keep telling your story, keep making your videos. Today was a very hard day, and I'm still sitting here and I'm reading this story out loud. His drawing of the heirloom was admired by visiting doctors, and he began to teach himself draughtsmanship, the ability to draw well, or the art of drawing, and engraving. The following year he submitted architectural plans for a new Bedlam hospital, which so impressed the governors that they awarded him a prize of £30. In 1814, his family succeeded in transferring him to a more congenial private asylum, Fox's London House in Hackney. Dr. Samuel Fox, the proprietor, the owner, regarded him as entirely sane, and he was soon helping out with bookkeeping and gardening. So this man was sane. He was a targeted individual. All of his allegations against the government turned out to be true. He didn't have proof, but he was released eventually from the Bedlam Hospital, where they were basically torturing him and tying him up in handcuffs. It doesn't go into detail in the essay what they were doing to him, but on a whole other story, and I'm going to get to that eventually, it explained all of his tortures at the Bedlam Asylum, and those tortures were funded by the government. Matthews died the following year, but he had his revenge on Haslam from beyond the grave. In 1815, a House of Commons committee was set up to investigate conditions in madhouses, including allegations of mismanagement and cruelty at Bedlam. When examined, Haslam blamed the hospital staff. They were incompetent and frequently drunk, and the resident surgeon was so insane as to have a straight waistcoat. In response, the head keeper testified that Haslam, frustrated by Matthews' refusal to accept his authority, had kept him in handcuffs to punish him for the use of his tongue. Chaining non-violent patients had become emblematic of the evils of the old madhouse system, and indeed, Haslam had criticized the practice in his own books. When the committee's report was published in 1816, he was dismissed by the Bedlam governors. Haslam's career was ruined. He sold everything he owned, doggedly retrained as a physician, and eventually took his MD at the age of 60. He became a specialist legal witness in trials involving criminal lunacy, giving his opinion on questions such as imbecility and lucid intervals, but Matthew's case seems to have destroyed his certainty that the mad could be unfailingly distinguished from the sane. In his old age, when asked in court whether a defendant was of sound mind, he replied, "I never saw any human being who was of sound mind." And that's it. That is the whole story. That is part 2. So what I take from that story is he was the first targeted individual. It's a lot that goes into it. I think I'm gonna have to. It's been a very long day. I think I'm gonna have to make an entirely separate video of my analysis of this story. But I just wanted to let you guys know about the story. And I have to make one more video before I go to bed.